What if I told you that everything you think you know about turning 80 is completely wrong? Barbara O'Neill discovered something remarkable about this age that will change how you view aging forever. And the fifth discovery? It might be the most liberating revelation of your entire life. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll understand why Barbara O'Neill called 80 the age of unexpected freedom, and why she believed most people are preparing for this decade all wrong. Welcome to Life Wisdom. Today I'm sharing Barbara O'Neill's groundbreaking insights about the 5 inevitable changes that happen at 80. These aren't medical conditions or problems to fear, according to Barbara O'Neill, they're natural transitions that, when understood properly, can transform your 80s into the most fulfilling decade of your life. But here's what shocked even Barbara O'Neill during her decades of research: most people fight against these changes instead of embracing them. And that resistance? It's stealing their joy. Barbara O'Neill said that understanding these changes ahead of time is like having a roadmap for navigating your 80s with grace and purpose. She discovered that those who embrace these shifts don't just survive this decade, they thrive in ways that surprise everyone around them. Comment below, are you approaching 80, already there, or preparing for someone you love? Because what I'm about to share will change everything you thought you knew about this life stage. Let me ask you this: what if the changes you're dreading about turning 80 are actually gifts in disguise? Barbara O'Neill believed they were. Let's discover why. Change 1: Your body's natural rhythm revolution. Barbara O'Neill discovered something fascinating. At 80, your body doesn't slow down, it gets smarter. But most people miss this completely. The first change Barbara O'Neill identified is a complete transformation in your energy and sleep patterns. According to Barbara O'Neill, this isn't about declining health, it's about your body finally operating at its most efficient rhythm for this life stage. Here's what Barbara O'Neill found that will surprise you: your circadian rhythm actually improves at 80, but only if you stop fighting it. Barbara O'Neill said your body naturally shifts to want sleep around 8 to 9 p.m. and wake around 5 to 6 a.m. Your energy peaks happen in the morning and early afternoon, with a pronounced dip around 2 p.m. Most people panic when this happens. Barbara O'Neill said this is exactly what should happen. But wait, there's something even more remarkable Barbara O'Neill discovered about sleep at 80. Stay with me. Your sleep architecture changes too. Barbara O'Neill explained that you spend more time in lighter sleep stages and less in deep sleep, which means more frequent nighttime awakenings. But here's Barbara O'Neill's key insight: this is normal and doesn't mean poor sleep quality if you adjust your expectations. Let me tell you about Margaret, an 82-year-old who applied Barbara O'Neill's principles. The transformation was incredible. Margaret was frustrated because she couldn't stay up past 9 p.m. anymore and kept waking at 5:30 a.m. She thought something was wrong. Then she learned about Barbara O'Neill's approach. Instead of fighting her new rhythm, Margaret redesigned her entire day around it. According to Barbara O'Neill's method, Margaret now does her most important activities, reading, correspondence, light exercise, in the morning when her energy peaks. She schedules social activities for early afternoon, takes a guilt-free 20-minute rest around 2 p.m., and embraces her early bedtime. The result shocked everyone who knew her. But this is just the beginning of what Barbara O'Neill discovered. Barbara O'Neill said the most important mindset shift is this: your body isn't broken, it's operating more efficiently for this life stage. When you stop fighting your natural rhythms and start optimizing around them, you actually have more productive, satisfying days. Here's Barbara O'Neill's 3-step strategy for working with your new energy patterns. First, Barbara O'Neill recommended tracking your personal energy peaks for 1 week. Note when you feel most alert and when you naturally feel tired. Second, according to Barbara O'Neill, restructure your daily priorities to match these peaks. Do demanding tasks when your energy is highest. Third, Barbara O'Neill emphasized creating a consistent sleep routine that honors your natural bedtime, including dimming lights an hour before sleep. But energy changes are just the beginning. What Barbara O'Neill discovered about social connections at 80 will challenge everything you believe about friendship. Change 2. The Great Social Evolution. Barbara O'Neill made a shocking discovery. At 80, losing some friendships isn't a tragedy, it's a gift. Here's why. The second change Barbara O'Neill identified affects your social world completely. According to Barbara O'Neill, this isn't about isolation, it's about social optimization. Barbara O'Neill said that at 80, some friendships naturally fade while others become deeper than ever before. This happens because your priorities shift toward authentic connections. You have less tolerance for superficial relationships and you're drawn to people who share your current life stage. Barbara O'Neill discovered something that will free you from social guilt forever. Listen carefully. According to Barbara O'Neill, your emotional energy becomes precious at 80, and your brain naturally guides you toward relationships that provide genuine support, understanding, and joy. It's not social isolation, Barbara O'Neill called it social refinement. Let me share what happened to Robert, who followed Barbara O'Neill's guidance. The outcome was unexpected. Robert, 81, was distressed when his longtime poker group dissolved. Some had health issues, others moved away. Robert felt like he was losing his identity. Then he applied Barbara O'Neill's principles. Barbara O'Neill said to actively seek new connections with people in similar life stages. Robert started volunteering at a literacy program where he met other volunteers in their 70s and 80s. These friendships, built around shared purpose rather than shared history, became more meaningful than his previous social interactions. According to Barbara O'Neill's approach, Robert also deepened his family relationships. As he became more selective about his social energy, he invested more in relationships that truly mattered. Here's Barbara O'Neill's revolutionary approach to social connections at 80. This will change how you think about friendship forever. Barbara O'Neill said to give yourself permission to let some relationships naturally fade without guilt. Not every friendship needs to last forever. Second, Barbara O'Neill recommended actively seeking connections with people who share your current interests and values. Third, according to Barbara O'Neill, deepen relationships that energize you through intentional quality time and meaningful conversation. Barbara O'Neill emphasized that quality becomes much more important than quantity. A meaningful 2-hour conversation can be more fulfilling than a whole day of superficial activities. But social evolution is just preparing you for the third change. What Barbara O'Neill discovered about time at 80 will revolutionize your entire life approach. Change 3. The Time Revolution. Barbara O'Neill made a discovery about time at 80 that shocked even her. You don't have less time, you finally understand what time is actually for. The third change Barbara O'Neill identified is the most profound. Your relationship with time completely transforms. Barbara O'Neill called this time perspective liberation. According to Barbara O'Neill, at 80 you experience what she termed conscious time selection. Days might feel shorter due to less physical stamina, but you become incredibly selective about how you spend each moment. Barbara O'Neill discovered something that will free you from people-pleasing forever. Here's what she found. Barbara O'Neill said you'll start caring less about what others think and more about what brings genuine satisfaction. Social expectations that once felt important, keeping up appearances, maintaining standards for show, pleasing irrelevant people, become completely irrelevant. Let me tell you about Dorothy, who applied Barbara O'Neill's time principles at 83. Her family was shocked by what happened next. Dorothy had been an active church member for 40 years, serving on committees and organizing events that had become exhausting rather than fulfilling. She was spending her limited energy on activities that felt like duty rather than joy. Applying Barbara O'Neill's principles, Dorothy made a radical change. She stepped down from all committee positions and started spending Sunday mornings in her garden, her true passion that she'd never had time for. Her family's reaction was predictable, but the outcome? Even Barbara O'Neill would have been impressed. Instead of becoming isolated, Dorothy reported feeling more energized and purposeful than she had in years. She had stopped spending time on obligations and started investing it in what genuinely mattered. Barbara O'Neill said this time transformation affects decision-making powerfully. At 80, you make choices based on personal fulfillment rather than external expectations. According to Barbara O'Neill, you develop crystallized wisdom, the ability to see through superficial concerns to what really matters in any situation. Here's Barbara's 4-step process for embracing time transformation. This could change your life today. First, Barbara O'Neill recommended conducting a time audit of your typical week. Identify activities that energize versus drain you. Second, according to Barbara O'Neill, practice saying no to requests that don't align with your genuine priorities without guilt. Third, Barbara O'Neill said to invest more time in activities that bring deep satisfaction, even if they're not traditionally productive. Fourth, Barbara O'Neill emphasized using this new perspective for important conversations and experiences you've been postponing. But this time revolution prepares you for something even more remarkable. What Barbara O'Neill discovered about the mind at 80 will surprise you completely. Change 4, the mental transformation. Barbara O'Neill made a discovery about memory at 80 that goes against everything you've been told. Prepare to have your mind blown. The fourth change Barbara O'Neill identified involves memory and thinking processes. According to Barbara O'Neill, this isn't simple decline, it's sophisticated reorganization that trades certain abilities for others. Here's what Barbara O'Neill discovered that changes everything about cognitive aging. Barbara O'Neill said yes, short-term memory becomes less reliable. You might forget why you entered a room. But while your brain becomes less efficient at holding new information temporarily, it becomes much better at accessing and connecting long-term memories meaningfully. According to Barbara O'Neill, at 80, memories from decades ago become incredibly vivid and detailed. More importantly, your brain gets better at seeing patterns and connections between experiences. She called this wisdom-optimized thinking. Here's why it's actually superior to younger cognitive abilities. Barbara O'Neill explained that your brain shifts from a high-speed information processor to a sophisticated pattern recognition and wisdom synthesis system. You trade rapid recall for deep insight, quick learning for profound understanding. Let me share what happened to William, who embraced Barbara O'Neill's cognitive approach at 84. The results were remarkable. William, a retired engineer, was frustrated when he could no longer quickly memorize technical specifications. But following Barbara O'Neill's principles, he discovered something amazing. When his adult son consulted him about complex work problems, William could instantly see solutions that eluded younger, technically sharper colleagues. According to Barbara O'Neill's framework, William's brain was no longer optimized for memorizing data, but had become sophisticated at recognizing patterns and connecting concepts. Here's Barbara O'Neill's 4-strategy approach to optimizing cognitive abilities at 80. This is revolutionary. First, Barbara O'Neill recommended externalizing routine information storage. Use calendars and lists for daily details so mental energy focuses on complex thinking. Second, according to Barbara O'Neill, engage in activities that draw on pattern recognition strengths, strategy games, mentoring, or problem-solving that benefits from life experience. Third, Barbara O'Neill said to maintain cognitive challenge through learning that builds on existing knowledge rather than mastering completely unfamiliar skills. Fourth, Barbara O'Neill emphasized recognizing that your thinking style has changed, not deteriorated. You're now optimized for wisdom rather than speed. But all of this prepares you for Barbara O'Neill's most surprising discovery. The fifth change might be the greatest gift of reaching 80. Change 5, the ultimate freedom. Barbara O'Neill's final discovery about turning 80 shocked everyone, including herself. She called it the Great Liberation. Here's what she found. The fifth change Barbara O'Neill identified is the most wonderful. You experience a level of personal freedom and authenticity you may never have felt before in your entire life. According to Barbara O'Neill, this isn't just about caring less what others think, it's about finally becoming who you truly are. Barbara O'Neill discovered something that will revolutionize how you see aging. This changes everything. Barbara O'Neill said that at 80, external pressures that shaped earlier decisions simply disappear. You're no longer building careers, impressing colleagues, or meeting societal expectations. Your children are grown, major responsibilities are complete, and suddenly you have permission to live according to your own values. Let me tell you about Florence, who applied Barbara O'Neill's authenticity principles at 82. Her transformation was breathtaking. Florence had spent her adult life as the proper minister's wife, conservative in dress, careful in speech, always putting others first. She had suppressed her love of art to fit everyone's expectations. At 82, Florence decided she was done being proper. Following Barbara O'Neill's authenticity approach, she started wearing colorful clothing, took up bold abstract painting, and began speaking her mind. The family's reaction was predictable, but what happened next proves Barbara O'Neill was right about everything. Rather than becoming difficult, Florence became more vibrant and engaging than ever. Her family realized this authentic version was actually more fun to be around. Her grandchildren especially loved this grandmother who painted wild pictures and told them exactly what she thought. According to Barbara O'Neill, this authenticity brings unexpected benefits. Relationships improve because you're finally honest about who you are. You waste less energy on pretense and have more for genuine connections. Here's Barbara O'Neill's 4-step process for embracing authentic freedom. This could transform your life immediately. First, Barbara O'Neill recommended identifying areas where you've been living according to others' expectations rather than your own values. Second, according to Barbara O'Neill, give yourself explicit permission to make choices based on what brings genuine satisfaction. Third, Barbara O'Neill said to experiment with expressing your authentic opinions and interests. You might be surprised by positive responses. Fourth, Barbara O'Neill emphasized using this freedom for growth and exploration. What have you always wanted to try? Barbara O'Neill made one final observation that will change how you view turning 80 forever. According to Barbara O'Neill, many people report feeling more like themselves at 80 than ever before. All the roles and expectations that once defined you become optional. You choose which serve you and which you're ready to release. Barbara O'Neill said this represents the culmination of all other changes, energy shifts that teach prioritization, social evolution that focuses on meaningful connections, new time relationships that emphasize what matters, cognitive changes that bring wisdom, and growing authenticity that allows you to become fully yourself. Barbara O'Neill's final message about turning 80 will inspire you to embrace this life stage completely. Barbara O'Neill discovered that when you see these changes as natural adaptations rather than losses, you work with them instead of fighting them. The 80-year-old who embraces their new rhythms, cultivates deeper relationships, prioritizes consciously, values wisdom, and lives authentically often reports higher life satisfaction than they've experienced in decades. According to Barbara O'Neill, this isn't about accepting decline, it's about recognizing evolution. Your 80-year-old self isn't a diminished version of your younger self. Barbara O'Neill called it a specialized version optimized for different but equally valuable capabilities and experiences. Barbara O'Neill's greatest insight was that each change, properly understood and embraced, contributes to a life that can be more intentional, authentic, and fulfilling than any decade before it. Which of Barbara O'Neill's 5 discoveries surprised you most? Share your thoughts below. Your experience helps our community understand what this life stage truly offers. If Barbara O'Neill's insights shifted your perspective about turning 80, share this with someone who might benefit. Subscribe for more life-changing wisdom as we build a community where every life stage is valued and celebrated. Remember Barbara O'Neill's words, at 80, you don't diminish, you distill into your truest, most authentic self. Thank you so much for staying with me through this exploration. If you found value in today's discussion, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share this video with someone who might benefit from it.